This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I'm deeply committed to an open relationship with snowboard gear. This is the Jones Project X. I just put these other boards in here because they look pretty. But I'm going to be primarily talking about this board and comparing it to the Stratos, which it's very similar to. I rode this with my Union Atlas and my Burton Kendos. I got this in less than ideal conditions to okay conditions, but not the conditions I'd hoped for. Like I said in past reviews for 2022, during the 2021 season when I was testing these, it just shut off late February and just never turned back on, and just went to spring. To give you a short summary, this is kind of the more turny, more everyman's version of the Ultra flagship, which is a really light, poppy, dynamic ride, but it's a little more straight line oriented. This has just a little bit more of a turny side cut to it that appeals to a wider variety of riders. But if you're a heavier rider, or if you're somebody who rides a lot in uneven terrain, you probably want to avoid this, because just like the Stratos, it only really shines for lighter riders. Some of our crew that tested this that were light loved it, and the heavier guys like myself didn't. It was just too bucky and bouncy for me. But it's got great setback on board, and it's a very versatile ride. Now, when it comes to sizing, this was too small for me. I'd rather have a 59 if they have one, or a 62. I think that would be much better for my weight. However, my size 9 boots fit this perfectly, and it felt like it was just made to turn this board. But again, I just felt like I had way too much weight for this to be doable. Now for Nick, he loved this board. His boots were a touch on the big side, but the weight matched perfectly. And my friend Micah, I think he's about similar size boot to me, a little shorter, like about 5'8", and like 160, 150s, 160s. He loved this board too. It really got him off. Now when it comes to shape, it's tapered and directional. Not much taper, just like the Stratos, but it looks more directional and more tapered than you would think. And it definitely has a more turny, tapered feel versus the Ultra flagship and flagship, just like the Stratos. And it feels really good between the feet and not too washy, but you do need a little bit more back foot weight. Now, when it comes to the camber profile, there's a good bit of camber going to a little bit of rocker and spoon nose, and it just feels forgiving, but still poppy, lively, energetic, and you feel the camber underfoot, but it tracks really well and very easy to skid a turn. And you don't feel the lifted sides because they seem to happen more after the camber ends and the rocker begins. When it comes to flex, this is pretty stiff right here, but overall it has kind of a medium stiff personality. There is so much energy when you flex it, and on snow that translates to a very poppy ride. It has that same kind of personality that the Ultra flagship has, that just pops so much harder than the regular flagship. And this, although the Stratos is really poppy, really energetic, this is even more so. This just kicks it up a notch from there. So really good pop, really good energy. It was totally easy for me to butter this, but I was way overweight for this guy. I was definitely a fat guy in a little coat on this. But when it comes to flex personality and how it deals with uneven terrain and all conditions kind of riding, even in good groomers with me, as I picked up speed, I felt this not liking my weight underneath me. But Nick and Micah were having a blast with this. It just felt like this was the best board ever when they were riding it in good conditions. But when you're dealing with chattery kind of snow, you know, that kind of like hard micro bumpy snow, this just chatters throughout the board. You got to be careful with your sizing with this and your weight, but best for clean, pristine conditions. Now, when it comes to speed, this base glide is exceptional. It is so fast, but so are all the Jones boards. They're just all fast. This is the fastest of fast, but it's not that much faster than a lot of the other Jones boards, and they all have exceptional base glide. In order to bomb this board, you have to be much lighter than the high end of the recommended weight. This just likes a lighter rider. And if you're a lighter rider, this is just gonna light you up. Now, when it comes to edge hold, I think it's good edge hold, but I just kept bucking and bouncing out of my line. The minute I hit anything uneven, I lost my edge. But if you're the right weight, it should hold pretty well because it has a good disruption in the side cut. Now, the turning experience is just like the Stratos. I loved it. I love this turning experience. I like it better than the Flagship, which is probably its closest peer. And I liked it better than the Ultra Mind Expander. I felt like this was the kind of turning experience I've always wanted from Jones. It's just less straight-liney, it's less racy, it's more turny and more balanced. You can do a little bit of everything, long drawn-out turns, down the line kind of turns. You can do across the groomer turns, and it doesn't fight you too much on a circle carve either. It's just really balanced, and I like that. So when it comes to powder, there is really good setback on board here. You're looking at, with these setback inserts, at 5.125 inches back from center of board, which is massive. And that's at a 22-inch stance width, which is very usable for most people. And like the Stratos, it just has really good float. And I didn't get this in powder, but I got the Stratos in powder last year in pretty good powder, and that thing just floated really well when the conditions were perfect. If you put it back centered on groomers, you have a little bit more tapered, directional, all mountain kind of feel. And then when you set it all the way back, you're starting to get a little bit of that surfy feel. Overall, I think it's a really cool board. It was just total mismatch for me. So I think if you're a light rider like Nick, like Micah, this could get you off. It's just super expensive. All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight, and we're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite, then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. Now, if you need advice, fill out the eHarmony profile in the Contact Us section of the site. It's the only way I can help you properly. If you want to support us, and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So, thanks for watching.